The Trinity. You know, for a lot of us, that word just brings up images of old, dusty theology books and some really confusing diagrams. But what if? What if that ancient doctrine actually holds the key to a more connected, a more vibrant way of life? Well, that's what we're going to dig into today. For so many people, the whole Christian idea of the Trinity, God as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, it feels like an intellectual Rubik's Cube. It's this theological puzzle that doesn't seem to have any real practical application for our day-to-day lives. But what if we've been looking at it completely wrong? What if the Trinity isn't a puzzle we're supposed to solve, but actually a blueprint for how we're supposed to live? Today, we're going to explore this idea that the Trinity isn't just about who God is, but it's his profound revelation of what humanity is meant to be, especially in how we live together. You know, the theologian Colin Gunton, he really puts his finger on this exact feeling. He basically says that the Trinity has been pushed to the sidelines because it never really got into the bloodstream of the church's daily life. So today, let's see if we can change that. Okay, let's jump right in. So to really get the practical side of the Trinity, we have to start by re-examining some of our most basic ideas about what God is even like. And that means we need a pretty radical shift in perspective. So, forget that image of a solitary king on a throne, all distant and alone. The source material we're looking at today paints a totally different picture. It says that the ultimate reality is an eternal, loving community of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There's this beautiful theological word for this whole dynamic. It's perichoresis, and it describes this endless, dynamic dance of divine, self-giving love, where each person in the Trinity is totally defined by their relationship to the others. Think of it like a perfect three-part harmony, where each distinct voice creates one single, beautiful reality. This wasn't just some idea pulled out of thin air, by the way. It was hammered out over centuries to protect this deeply relational view of God. Okay, so here's the bottom line, and this is the really crucial point. If God is the ultimate reality, and God is a community of love, then relationship isn't just some nice idea. It's woven into the very fabric of the universe itself. All right, now that we have that foundational idea down, let's see how it gives us a real, practical blueprint for our own lives. I mean, if the very nature of God is communal, what in the world does that mean for us, who are supposed to be made in God's image? This just completely reframes what it means to be made in God's image. It's not just about having individual talents like being creative or smart. It means we are fundamentally wired for the exact same kind of loving, interdependent community that God actually is. In this slide, this highlights a really powerful difference. You know, our culture, it celebrates the individual, someone defined by what makes them separate from everyone else. But this Trinitarian model, it gives us a totally different and I think richer vision that we're created to be persons who find our truest, most complete selves only when we're in community, in a state of mutual self-giving with others. And that has a massive implication. It means the community of believers is meant to be like a living, breathing, stained glass window, a place where the relational, loving nature of God is made real and visible, right here on earth for everyone to see. But how do we take this really big theological idea and turn it into actual concrete action? What does it really look like to live out this Trinitarian blueprint in our day-to-day lives? Well, Jesus gives us the pattern. And you have to notice, this isn't just a suggestion. It's an invitation to join in on a radical, self-giving kind of love that actually mirrors the very love that's flowing eternally within the Trinity itself. And this love, it's not just some warm, fuzzy feeling. It's an active, costly commitment. Let's just walk through this. It means 1, to love each other on purpose. 2, to be willing to lay down our lives, our preferences, our time for each other. 3, and this is so key, to take on real liability for one another's well-being, their debts, their needs, their struggles. And 4, it means to share our resources as if we are genuinely, truly family. And we actually have this powerful example of what this looks like. The book of Acts paints this incredible picture of a community that took this blueprint to heart. They shared their lives and their resources with such radical generosity that literally no one was left in need. Now think about that. In a Roman society built on strict social classes, this was a revolutionary way to live. It was a direct challenge to the way things were. And this just brilliantly shows the core idea. This wasn't charity. It wasn't an optional add-on for the super spiritual people. For the early church, taking responsibility for one another was the natural, logical result of living as a family that was trying to reflect its divine Trinitarian source. So this presents a pretty profound challenge to us, doesn't it? It forces us to ask, how do our own communities, our churches, our neighborhoods, even our own families, how do they stack up against this ancient, radical blueprint? I mean, what would it actually look like to take on mutual liability, not just in theory, but with our bank accounts, with our homes, with our time? To see someone else's medical debt or their student loans as a shared problem that we have to solve together. Because the ultimate goal here, it isn't just to create some cozy, inward-looking club. The goal, as Elton Trueblood puts it, is to create these centers of loving fellowship that are so deeply rooted in this Trinitarian, self-giving love that they become this compelling, even infectious witness to the world of a completely different way of being human. So in the end, the doctrine of the Trinity isn't just some theological puzzle we're meant to solve. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to participate in the very life and the very love of God, starting right where we are, in the communities that we build. It asks us to look around and seriously consider, in a world that is so often fragmented and individualistic, what reality is our life together reflecting?